What is up? What is up? We are back and black in the building. What is going on? Another day, another dollar. What's going on, Shawnee? You already know I see you. What's happening? Man, we are back in black in the building. What is going on? Man. A lot to discuss, a lot going on. Shout out to everybody at the Core Plantation. I already know what y'all doing, man. Man, I know it's a nigga right now like, man, it's some bullshit. My people built this shit, and the nigga gotta be here every day, all day, playing goddamn corporate politics. Man, shout out to everybody that's at the Core Plantation right now, making it happen, making it do what it do. Shout out to all my melanated brothers and sisters that are, I would say, compartmentalizing their anger and frustration with the dominant white society at the Core Plantation. Because I know a lot of y'all, like I keep saying every week, want to slap the shit out of a motherfucker. But don't do that, because you got to feed your peoples. You got to take care of home, so don't even do that shit, man. I be having times where I be wanting to snap, too. I done snapped a couple of times, too, because they do things to pick and fuck with you. So shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody that's on their grind, forever grinding, never stopping to grind and handling business. And you already know what I'm gonna hit y'all with. You already know what it is, Shawnee. Shawnee, you already know. I'm talking to, in case y'all listen, I'll be talking to the people in the chat. You already know who it is. Shawnee, you already know. Hey, y'all already know I'm gonna hit y'all with it. Did Jesus come back today? God damn. Damn, the nigga didn't come back, man. Now we done done all this. And all this other shit. And singing and all this other shit. Dancing and prancing. Got antsy and pants and eat the dance. And the nigga ain't even come back. That's a motherfucking fact. God damn, man. So shout out to everybody it's probably some niggas at the church right now, man. No diss. I just go hard on my black churches. The reason why I go hard on them, because you got a million liquor stores around you. And a million gangs, a million hookers and hoes. But y'all niggas just worried about ties and worried about y'all Cadillacs and bullshit y'all got going on. Now, some churches that is for the community, but it's a lot of niggas that ain't for the community. And a lot of motherfuckers take that Bible literally. Matter of fact, black Christians use the Bible like they ordered something from Burger King. Yeah, could I get the Junior Whopper with cheese? Translation, Can I get Jesus with a side of Mary and an idiot shando? So shout out to all you pretend Christians, and shout out to all you real Christians. If you're a Christian and you know it, man, whatever it is, but I'm gonna tell you right now, has that religion helped replace the system of racism, white supremacy? That's what I want to get on. Niggas know how I am, man. Look, I try to be respectful. When Christians get to come on me talking about they got the good teaching and all this other bullshit, I just be looking at their ass, man. I ain't gonna lie, I just be looking like, oh, so y'all got the good teaching? I remember I had a nigga tell me that, man, you come to our church, man, we got the good teaching. And I was like, look, man, and this is before I started reading. I'm like, man, I don't even feel like arguing with you about this shit, man. I grew up in that bullshit. And let me tell you something. There is not a single thing that you can take from the black church and apply it to the system of racism, white supremacy. Praying don't help, because y'all didn't pray for the last 450 years, and the dominant white society still got their foot on your motherfucking head. So I don't know why you motherfuckers think about, oh, just pray. Voting don't work, because if it did work, things would be in the best interest of the black society, foundational black Americans, native blacks, as Dr. Claude Anderson calls it. So none of that shit really works. But I'm going to tell you what I think worked. This is just my perspective before we get into it. I think what worked is Santeria, Kundule, Ifa, Voodoo. I think that shit really worked. That's why I'm going to start fucking with it. Why, Warren? Because, man, the other shit ain't working. And these niggas is still fucking with us at the Core Plantations. Niggas still don't own shit. We own, what, 2% of the nation's wealth? The rest of it is held in the hands of the dominant white society, according to Dr. Claude Anderson and Dennis Campbell and all these other people. So shout out to all my realist black folk that's at the Core Plantation. Look to your left and look to your right. If you're working around a whole bunch of black folk and they are not upset, they not pissed off, then something is wrong with them, as Dr. Claude Anderson teaches. How could you be happy about working a corn plantation job every day? Being fake, phony, fraudulent, having to bend the knee, acquiesce, and having to be a conformist, go along to get along because you got to feed your family. So if you're not mad about that shit, then something is wrong with you. And shout out to all and all my other black folk that's out there, that's handling business, that's not finessing, that's not trying to get over on their people, support black businesses and handling business. Let me tell you something, blackandnoble.com, shout out to Shawnee again. Hey, she put me on the Black and Noble. I get soap from them, gotta get the black soap from them, get the black soap, sea moss, all that shit. Then there's a sister, Urban Book Reads, out of Baltimore. I fuck with that store heavy, get sea moss and shit from them. Mix of Health, get sea moss from them. I'm telling you, man, you gotta support black businesses wherever you can, man. We all we got. So why niggas out here talking about this Beamer, Bentley, Benz, and all this other bullshit and trying to floss and all this other shit? Go floss on them white folk. Oh, my bad, you can't. Because they already got all that shit. So you go amongst your people, popping your collar around them, when really, all you are is 1 or 2 checks away from being right where the rest of your black folk are. So shout out to all my black folk that support black businesses and are reading and studying and understanding what the knowledge is and what it's about. And you say, why you say that, man? Why you say about supporting black business? Because, man, there's a lot of black businesses out there that don't get, I would say, the support that is needed. I'll tell you this, man. There's some things that I think we need to work on, but we'll get into that. But right now, we're going to talk about what it means to be a patriot. You know what I'm saying? I got the etymology dictionary, and I'm going to find it. And I'm going to look up the origins of patriot and see what it's talking about later on in the discussion. So we're going to get into it, man. Hey. Let's cut this shit down. Man. Another Sunday, another fun day, as they would say. But some motherfuckers, man, they at the corn plantation right now. You know, and some people, they not at the corn plantation right now. Probably most niggas is at church. Let's just keep it a buck. Most niggas at church. Most niggas is praying and I would have lived and all this bullshit. And hey, if that's what you want to do it, man. You know, if that's what you want to do it. But it doesn't stop you from still questing for more knowledge about trying to replace the system of racism, white supremacy, and establish a system of justice. And you like, well, what do you mean establish it? You could establish it by holding people around you accountable. As they would say, who's holding the accountable is what I say. Because when you're looking at the white dominant society, and I would just say any other racial group, there's a pecking order and there's ways of how they structure things so nobody around them really gets out of line because they have boundaries, rules and regulations. My thing is, when are we going to get to that part? I'm at the very tail end of the destruction of black civilization, and he's speaking some real shit. It almost reminds me of Dirty Bookman. So most black folk, I think they need to go get Dirty Bookman's prayer. Google it. You can Google Dirty Book. Just Google Dirty Bookman's prayer, and it'll come up and it'll tell you exactly what it means and what he says. And he basically says black folk need to replace the image of the white man's God. The white man's God asked them to commit crimes. You feel me? Basically, my translation, how could that be our God? Their God asked them to commit crimes against us. So fuck that. Why is we praying to they fucking God? They God ain't our God. That's why voodoo, Kundule, Santeria, all those other fucking religions, them ancient African sciences, they put fear of God in your heart to get you to stay away from that, and then they give you King James. No, you pray to this Jesus, okay? Tyrone, that Jesus is really gonna save you, and you're gonna go to heaven. So if you wanna go to heaven, you're gonna pray to this God, and then, you know, niggas run with it. And then when you get to talking to a nigga about voodoo, they be like, don't do no voodoo. Get to poking out their lips, and it's just like, man, that's why I just kind of like, it's hard for me to have serious conversations with people about the Bible because I be laughing at their ass. I'm like, do you know what the Council of Nicaea is? Motherfuckers be like, what is that? I'm like, man, I don't even want to go there with you, man. I just suggest everybody get an etymology dictionary and understand exactly what's going on. See, when you have white folks storming the Capitol, that's patriotic. When you have Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, that's unpatriotic, and you're being disrespectful to the flag and to soldiers because they kept us safe. Y'all don't even know what they was over there fighting for. Matter of fact, I love it when a person comes down that lane. For instance, when a motherfucker get to talking that shit, I'll be like, oh, being disrespectful? Well, are you a Martin Luther King fan? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, you know Martin Luther King was anti-war, right? And he was opposed to the war. He was opposed to poverty, but he was in favor of reparations for black folk because they built this country. So was he being anti-patriotic? Was he being, I would say, not in favor of this country progressing? Yes, he was in favor of the country progressing, but not at the detriment of black folk. So was Martin Luther King being unpatriotic? Well, no, okay then, because he wasn't for the war and he was for motherfucking reparations for black folk. Y'all for the war, so y'all want to go run everything until y'all know what's going on. Let me tell you something, most people that's in the Army, Navy, whatever, they don't know what the fuck is going on. They soldiers, they just do as they're told. They don't even know what the mission is. And I'm gonna tell you right now, when a dominant white society person or any other racial group try to say that black folk ain't patriotic, first of all, the thing you should say is, well, who made you the moral compass of black folk? And who made you the moral compass of this country? This country was built off the bloodshed of black folk. So how the fuck can you be the moral compass of what the fuck black folks deem as patriotic and whatnot? Well, we can only say that we're patriotic if the dominant society says that we're patriotic. Man, get the fuck out of here, nigga. Go on your corporate plantation and see what the fuck, how they do black folk. See what they do with the black folk. And see how they treat other racial groups compared to black folk. Any other racial group could go in there laughing and joking and talking and screaming. Nothing to be wrong with them. If a black person is laughing and joking too much, you're not serious enough. If a black person is too quiet and more serious and more in tune with the work, oh, you gotta loosen up and you're making people feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? They want to treat black folk like Mr. Potato Head and do what they want to do to you, but then white folk, as Childish Gambino say, they have a clean slate. When they walk in the room, it's a clean slate. They're a businessman or they're a white person. But when a black person walks in the room, he has to be categorized as something. He has to be placed in the category as something. So how could our definition of patriotism mean the same thing as what the dominant society's definition of patriotism is? When you think of patriotism, you think of Mel Gibson in his movies as a patriot. You know, you think of patriotism as Captain America. That's why they love Captain America. The red, white, and blue, and he's a soldier, and he's for the moral, he's the moral compass of this country and all this other shit, right? What else would you think? But if you notice, all those are imageries, and those are images that and narratives that are created by the dominant society to give you the definition of what patriotism means. They'll never tell you about black folks fighting in every war. They'll never tell you about after we done fought in every war, we come back here and get called niggas and spit on and shit on, and we can't eat in the same restaurants as them, and we're treated as 3/4 human beings. They don't talk about none of that shit. But they want to talk about patriotism because it's their definition. We don't have the same definition. But when you want the pat on the dominant white society's head, what do you think they're gonna do? Look, man, I stopped worrying about what the fuck they care about me or my people. Why are you worried about that? Let me tell you something. If you're more worried about what they think about you than what your own folk think about you, you got a problem. I'm talking about in the quest for liberation of your people and reparations and things that could help your people economically. I'm not talking about how you look and the imagery. Who gives a fuck about that? Because you have the greatest imagery in the world and then you could be miserable. Fuck all that. You look at all this shit going on, you still see niggas jumping around for Joe Biden, and you see all this bullshit going on, but then you see niggas getting dogged out like that young sister Taylor Bracey got body slammed by that race soldier. Now, why would you body slam a young girl that's a minor and knock her out cold? And let me watch what's gonna happen. They're gonna put that motherfucker on Administrative leave while he's getting paid. They're going to do a bullshit investigation, and then he's going to be back to work. And basically, they'll tell him, you can't do that anymore. Now, what if this girl has brain damage from you knocking her out and slamming her on her head? But you want to tell me about police reform? That's unpatriotic too, because if law enforcement was there for the will of the people, then they would treat people like human beings. Well, I would say black folk, because they treat everybody else like human beings. They don't body slam white kids. That's a motherfucking fact. And if you do, and if I've ever heard of it, they kept it quiet. I heard that police officer that got fired or something. But when because most black people are expendable to the dominant white society, unless you are entertaining them by playing basketball or football or baseball or whatever, or telling jokes or singing or rapping or running track, you're useless to them. And I think a lot of black folk don't understand that, because a lot of us, in my personal opinion, I get it. It used to be that way too. A lot of us seek and desire what they have. You know what I'm saying? The American dream. You go out, go buy you a house you can't afford. And you knee deep in fucking mortgage bills and car payments and all this other shit, because they say that's what you're supposed to have to be successful. That's what they said. Trust me, my dumb ass used to be thinking the same way. Oh, gotta get a house. Oh, gotta get a nice car, because you know you work hard. You deserve it, right? Shit, gotta wear nice clothes. Shit, I gotta eat at the nice restaurants, because you deserve it, fucking Jerome. You know what I'm saying? That they got us thinking that way. Let me tell you why I think they got us thinking that way. Because that's the only way to keep you in the rat race. That's the only way. That's why I be laughing, man. Because I always look at it like this. Why else would they put those things in front of you? To me, those are just distractions. You're like, why you saying those distractions? Well, because what else would it be? Let's break this down. Okay, so they already tell us that we're not patriotic if we don't stand for the flag, right? So they already tell us that shit, right? Then they give you the religion. That's the religion that they gave you. That Jesus Christ bullshit, that's not from Africa. That's some shit that they gave you. So they give you that. And the whole time while they giving you Jesus, they in the back studying Kundule, Ifa, Santeria, Voodoo. They studying that shit. And then telling you don't fuck with it. And then when you go to your own people about fucking with it, I don't do no voodoo. You ain't seen Child's Play? Why do you think in Hollywood they do a great job of painting the picture and framing it, and framing that narrative that voodoo is bad? That's why anybody who has ever seen Child's Play, that will give you the impression that voodoo is bad, because that's what they do. You stay away from it. You stay away from it, and we'll practice. And you notice in the movie Child's Play, the dude Charles Lee Ray, the white dude that was crazy, the black dude was teaching him voodoo. And then if you didn't even get the hidden message, he learned how to do it, transmigrated his spirit into the doll, and he went crazy. Because he was crazy, but people didn't understand. And the black man was really the person who had the moral compass to tell him, hey man, you doing too much. Go watch the movie Child's Play. It tells you exactly like how white folk are. The black man was his teacher, taught him taught him voodoo. He transmigrated, he transferred his soul into the doll, and then he went crazy. But he was already crazy before he did that. It wasn't like he was a good person before he did it. And then he couldn't transfer his body out of the soul. His soul out of the doll. So he went back to the black dude and then kill him when the black dude didn't really want to help him. But what did they do to your mind? Got you thinking that voodoo is bad. Man, what's going on, Taj? I see you. Shit, man, you ain't late. Nigga ain't in here. Man, look. Y'all already know what it is, man. That young sister got body slammed. And of course they got Ben Crump out there talking for them and telling them what they gonna do. And man, it's like, God damn, then you got Jesse Jackson talking about take the vaccine. I am somebody. I am somebody. I am somebody. Somebody say that I am somebody. Man, shut the fuck up, Reverend Jesse fucking Jackson. The fuck out of here, man. Only thing that I liked about Jesse Jackson is that he was talking shit about Obama because he knew Obama was a bullshit motherfucker. That's the only thing I like about him. But I'm gonna tell you this right now, man. These people ain't for you. That's why they give you the things that they give you, because they know you ain't gonna do shit with it anyway. Now, man, I'm about to play. Here, let's see. Let's see if I can find. Here we go. I'm gonna find some little footage of the news about the young sister getting body slammed like she was in WWE.
Deputies say it happened yesterday at Liberty High School. News 6's Mark Lehman's been following the latest on this story and joins us live with more on what he's learned from the sheriff. Mark.
Yeah, the main point the sheriff wanted to get across is that his office has zero tolerance for any use of excessive force. And because of that, he's now ordering a state criminal investigation into the conduct of one of his deputies, something coming after video of yesterday's encounter surfaced online, which some may find disturbing. Now, in the short clip, it shows Deputy Ethan Fournier slamming a female student onto the concrete at Liberty High School. The 10-year deputy is then seen placing the girl in handcuffs as she remains motionless on the ground. All of this happening as another deputy stands close by. Well, today, Sheriff Marcos Lopez addressed the encounter, saying it happened after the teen was trying to fight another student in the hallway. Regardless of the situation, though, Lopez says there needs to be transparency to determine if Deputy Fournier's actions were excessive. For that reason, the investigation is now being handed over to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
They're going to conduct a criminal investigation. They're the ones that are going to review any type of evidence or any type of videos that are out there. We want to make sure it's a complete, thorough investigation without my influence in this case.
Now, since
and you notice that was a Latino brother, but where is this black and brown coalition? That's all. Where is that?
Today, there have also been many questions about the girl's injuries. Now, the sheriff wouldn't go into specifics, but said she is okay. Deputy Fournier also suffered minor injuries. He is now on paid administrative leave as the FDLE looks into what happened. Today, we also asked about the other deputy who was seen in that video, and the sheriff's office says that deputy at this point is not under investigation. For now, reporting live in Osceola County, Mark Lehman, Getting Results, News 6.
Mark, thank you.
You see how that worked. And let you notice they didn't really say much about the police officer. And you notice they didn't really say much about the police officer that was just standing there and watching. They didn't say nothing about that either. And he didn't even stop it. And that's the thing that tripped me out, is because how you not gonna stop that shit?
16-year-old black.
Hold on. Here, I got some more footage of Benjamin Crump. But I'm gonna tell you this, man. Don't let these motherfuckers tell you that you're not patriotic and that's unpatriotic and all this other shit. That's the shit that started with Colin Kaepernick, because he was kneeling. Now, let's break it down real quick. Why was he kneeling? He was kneeling because of injustice that has been done to black folk the last 450 years, and police brutality that has been going on for 400 years. That ain't changed. So that's why he was kneeling. But what they did was they deflected and turned the issue into an issue of he's been disrespectful to the army. He's been disrespectful to the flag and all this other stuff. Now, most black folk, in my personal opinion, they don't know how to respond to that. I had a dude tell me that. He's in the service. Oh, you know, he's being. I said, do you know who Francis Scott Keys is? And he was just like, no, I don't know who that is. I said, Francis Scott Keys is the guy who wrote the national anthem. He's like, okay, what does that have to do with it? He was a well-known white supremacist, and he had 100 or 200 slaves, and he felt like black folk were put on this earth to be slaves to white folk, and they took out the third verse of the Star-Spangled Banner on purpose. Did you know that? Then he couldn't say anything. And I said, you know why I'm telling you this? Because most people are not educated enough to understand what the fuck is going on. So they're just running their mouth off what somebody else told them and not doing the research for themselves. That's where the problem is. So can't nobody tell you that you're unpatriotic and you know, and all this other shit. And don't let these people give you a definition of it is, because really patriotism and a patriot, basically, I think the etymology is, if I'm not mistaken, it's one who has love for his country. You know what I mean? If I'm not mistaken, but They'll tell you don't have love for a country, but how the fuck you don't have love for a country? Then you done fought in every war. You have dealt with the most. You have endured the most. You built the country off the backs of your labor. You've been raped, robbed, lynched, tarred, feathered, all these things. You were still able to be resilient enough to come back and then work for the same people that enslaved you and forced you to build this country for fucking free. And then you want to sit up here and tell black folk that they're unpatriotic? Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Motherfucker don't want to hear that shit. That's some bullshit. I don't want to hear none of that shit at all. Yeah, I'm about to play some more footage, some different footage of Ben Crump and listen to what he got to say. You know he does a lot of babbling and shit too, but let's just hear what he got to say.
The deputy is under investigation after a video went viral of him body slamming a female high school student. She appeared to be unconscious after her head hit the concrete. She was then handcuffed by a second officer while laying motionless on the ground. CBS News' Benita Sostre spoke with the teen's mother and her attorney, Ben Crump. We started by asking the girl's mother how she felt when she saw the video.
Upset, distraught, hurt, you know, because that's my daughter. She's 16. She's a female. You know, no one child should have to endure something like what she endured. No one, period.
To add insult to injury, the Sheriff's Department in Osceola County caused Miss Bracy to set up an interview because they are investigating criminal charges against her 16-year-old daughter, who the police body slammed and caused her head to hit the concrete.
But y'all want to sit up here. Now, where is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris now? Now, they couldn't wait to go to everybody's family when they was on that campaign trail. This young sister was knocked unconscious. So where's Joe Biden and Kamala at now? Where you be at? We right here. Where you at? AKAs. Where you at, AKAs? Something's happening to a young black sister. Where are y'all? Why y'all not putting the squeeze and the pressure on Kamala Harris, who y'all talking about, oh, she an AKA and all this other shit? See, don't get me started on them motherfuckers anyway.
Now they're trying to charge her with a crime. It's outrageous. But this happens not to little white children. This happens to little black children. The Nicholas.
Now, I do agree with that. That does happen to little black children and not little white children. I agree with that.
Cruz, who shot all those people in Parkland High School. The police didn't treat him as bad as they treated this 16-year-old black girl in Osceola Liberty High School.
Now, that's a fact. Now, that I do agree with. Now, I don't agree with him being an ambulance chaser, but I do agree with that. There's definitely a difference between the black children and the white children. And white kids at this point know that too. White kids could act like they don't know what's going on, but they know this shit too.
Why is that? We demand justice. We demand that this officer be terminated because this is unacceptable that you can do this to our children and not be held accountable.
Yep, that is the word of the century. That is the word of the year. That is the word of the day. That is the word all the time. Being held accountable. Now, let me tell you something. This is just my perspective. That's why I go so hard on my people when it comes to the black church and a lot of that shit. Because we can scream, we can holler, we can shout, as Chancellor Williams talks about in the destruction of a black civilization. But where the fuck has that gotten you? That's one. And two, we are not arming black children with how to deal with racism, white supremacy, and how to establish a system of justice. We're not doing that. What we're doing is we're showing them that you can be a conformist, a go along to get along. We're not teaching young black boys and girls how to be entrepreneurs, how to be business owners, how to have a skill set that they can use worldwide, nationwide. We tell them to go to school so they can do what? Get you a good job. So you could do what? So you could work and be in more debt. We don't have financial education and financial literacy and what the fuck you need to be doing with your bread. Like right now, last podcast I did about stock. Let me tell you something. I'll say it again. When I was in my economics class, there was a teacher. Hey, Tasha, I saw that comment too about Mr. Terry. Yes, there was a teacher that the school that I went to. My high school was a terrible school to me. I just didn't like it. It wasn't a whole lot of black folks there. And the black folks that were there, we didn't really get along. We did get along, but we didn't. Because everybody think that they better than, not everybody, but it's just, it's so hard for us to get along with each other because we always constantly sizing each other up. And I think, to me, I think I've always been kind of one of those motherfuckers that just kind of just keep to myself. And it's not hard for me to be around my people because I love being around my people. It's just, I think sometimes we let our egos, pride, and mentalities get in the way of just coming together. And at this school, and in this class, it was called economics. In this class, we went through a whole bunch of stuff. But the thing that I could tell about this white teacher that he loved the most was the stock market. And I know he was heavily invested in the stock market because he had bread. And he loved it. We went over the stock for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. I'm talking about in weeks. He broke it down like a pie chart. You know, if this pie is worth $100, you know, if this pie is worth $100, but you can't buy the whole pie. This is how he was explain things. You can't buy the whole pie, you guys. But you want to buy a fraction of the pie. You want to buy a piece of the pie. So my whole pie is worth $100, but I'm going to sell pieces of my pie for $1 to $1.50. And you want to buy 5 shares. So that's 5 times $1.50. And that's how much you own of that pie. I'm not making this up because that's how he taught it. If the man's still alive, probably dead by now, but I'll tell you this. The motherfucker broke the shit down and he went over it for weeks and weeks and weeks. This was the only subject he took forever to go over. And me, just pretend this is an East Bay book, not another book. And I'd be in the back talking to the homies in the back. Yeah, I'm about to get these J's right here. And I'm going to get those. I'm going to look fresh, man. I seen these polo pants and this Nautica jacket. And this is how I used to be. And you know what I'm saying? Watch. And I'm gonna get them blue Jordans. Shit, with that blue Nautica jacket. Oh man, I'm fresh. Ooh, right? Not knowing that fashion is what you make it, and you can wear the same thing all the time. Who gives a fuck? But I didn't know that then. And I remember he told me, he said, sir, you might want to pay attention to this because this subject that I'm talking about runs the world. It runs the United States of America and it runs the world. So you might want to pay attention because you don't pay attention right now, but you're going to wish you pay attention in 20 years from now. He said in years to come, you're going to wish you paid attention. Oh, and every time I look at my Robinhood account, it makes me think of Mr. Terry. Because I was told, I just wasn't told to take it serious. And a lot of it is because in your upbringing, they don't know. So in black folk, when you start talking about stock, they immediately start talking about gambling. That's day trading. That's buying call and put options. That's day trading. We're not talking about buying a call option or a put option. No, we're not talking about option trading. We're talking about just buying a stock as far as investing. Oh, and back then, Amazon was $20 a share then. Now it's $4,000 a share. Go figure. That's why I'm telling you right now, man, we need to wake the fuck up. Let me see. Law enforcement are told to use the amount of force necessary to get a situation under control, and that was not necessary. They giving us the merry-go-round explanation. Queen Tasha, I miss y'all. Quay, what's up? Bitcoin is now 30,000. I'm crying. I know. I've been watching boys. Hey, I swear to God, I've been like, because man, Shani, that's how you found out about me through Boys Walking shit. So I stay on his shit. And when he did that podcast about GameStop. And then he was talking about just kind of how people are driving the price up and how, Robinhood has a vested interest with Citadel because Robinhood is going to go public. So Robinhood is going to be like PayPal. they're going to be publicly traded too. So they're trying to make sure they don't rub any of these mutual fund investors the wrong way and these hedge fund owners the wrong way. But people don't know that. And Dr. Boyce Watkins kind of broke that down real good. And then I seen a lot of comments on Twitter and shit about what's going on. It's like, it's what's so sad is to me is that even Bitcoin, I was way late on Bitcoin, just like I was way late on stock. And it's like, fuck, man. And it's very difficult to talk to your people about stock because they look at you like you crazy for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, God damn, man. That's why I was like, and trust and believe you me, I fucked up on that Bitcoin shit. Because I remember when Boyce Watkins first started talking about that shit, that was years ago. That was probably like 2013, 2014. He was talking about Bitcoin. I had just got into the stock when he was talking about Bitcoin. And now Bitcoin, $30,000, the motherfucking coin and shit. I'm like, God damn, man. You know, trust me. And then like I said on the last podcast, I fucked up when I didn't buy TV One stock, Kathy Hughes, out of Baltimore, Maryland. That stock was going for 70 cents a share. Penny stock, basically. I could have bought 100 shares of that shit. I'd have bought 100 shares. That shit went up to $40 a share. I'd have at least made 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 grand. Whoop wop. I'd have made a nice little whoop wop. And I'd have been good. But no, Warren's like, I'll just buy a few. But it's true. Scared money don't make no money. If this is a long-term investment, who give a fuck? You supporting a black business? So trust and believe you me, I'm crying just like you, Shawnee. That's a fact. And that's why I go hard on black churches, because a lot of black churches, now I could teach I could see if they were teaching you financial literacy, investing. That's why you got to give props to Fred Price out of the Crenshaw Center in Los Angeles, California. He had the Honorable Dr. Claude Anderson at his church to talk about powernomics and black labor white wealth. What other preacher you see doing that? And Fred Price got a big time platform, but you don't see nobody else talking about that shit. That's why I'll tell you this, man. I challenge you. I don't challenge you to go in there and argue with your preacher, your pastor. Like, that's whack. That's whack to do that. But what I do challenge you is to take stock and inventory of what's being taught at church besides religion. What's being taught at church? Are they just teach you go get an education so you get you a good job? Or are they teaching being an entrepreneur, being a carpenter, a plumber, a welder, electrician, something that could sustain who you are economically no matter where you go? Because I'm going to tell you right now, man, when it comes to a lot of that shit, we don't know none of that shit. I'm going to just tell you, I can only speak on my experience. And I've been to a lot of black churches in Vegas and out there in California. And they teach you how to, be a musician and sing and all this other shit. But when it comes time to be like, all right, man, somebody got to go get to this money. Few and far between, you'll go to a black church and you will see people talking about black labor, white wealth. If you get to talk about that too much around black churches, them motherfuckers will look at you like you divisive. And they'll look at you like, oh, man, we can't do that here and all this other shit. Here, I'm about to look this up. Hold on. I just clicked on the link. Oops, something went wrong. The link wouldn't let me, I can't go on the link. Hold on, let me see if I can go on my phone. Yeah, it says, oops, something went wrong with that link you just sent me, Shawnee. I'm gonna try to look it up on my phone and see if I can do it then. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, it ain't let me do it on the computer, but it let me do it on my phone. Let me see. I'm playing it on my phone right now. My phone damn near about to die. And Ty McNeely, why you need a home-based business and how to start with. Okay, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check that out. I got it on my phone, so I'm gonna check that shit out. Good looking out, Shawnee, man. I appreciate that shit. Just like I was watching this movie about this this white attorney that was fighting the DuPont Corporation, the chemical corporation. He was fighting them for like 20 years. I think his name was Bob Billett or whatever. Very, very good movie. Very good movie. And just how they didn't give a fuck. It was about money. And if they can make money and they can hurt other people, they didn't give a fuck. They'll keep doing it. And I think those are things that we just have to learn, man. And the reason why I say that is because I think we are so far removed from what the social game rules that the dominant society has given us. She's a black accountant. Oh, I'm definitely gonna fuck with it. I'm gonna subscribe and everything. I'm definitely man, Shawnee, you already know, man. You already know. Anytime anybody put me up on something in the chat, I'm gonna check it out, man. I don't care what it is. I'm gonna check it out because every day is a school day. Constantly question for knowledge, man. That's what it's about, man. I feel like this. I feel a lot of the time black churches are a distraction from what the fuck niggas really need to be doing. That's all. Now, I would say in the 70s and the 80s, black churches were decent. Why, Warren? There were more black businesses to support black churches. There were a lot of black business owners in the 70s and the 80s. But then, the crack thing came in, and that kind of was very destructive and divisive to the black community. And in the 90s, we went through a major overhaul with the 94 crime bill. And in the 90s, the end of the 90s, it just kind of wiped out black people. And then all those black businesses went to immigrants and people of color. That bullshit. And then we just kind of go along with it. That's why you can go in your hood and patronize a fucking store and it's owned by Koreans or Indians or something like that, and it's normal to us. But when you go into a dominant white society like Beverly Hills and all that, you don't see other racial groups running the fucking shit around these white folks' neighborhood. There's white people over there. And if they don't want you over there, you the fuck out of here. But they make it a normalcy for black folk, and I feel like they do that because we're so deaf, dumb, and blind. And no diss, but we will tell a person, well, let's just pray. Cause that's what, if we just pray about it, we'll be all right. And it's like, no, nigga just can't just pray. First of all, we need to start teaching anybody around us, whether they older or younger, it's about generational wealth. So if you're not putting no generational wealth away for your children, then like as Dame Dash would say, you keep saying I, it's about your children. And let me tell you something, generational wealth can do a lot of positive things for the family if they know what they're supposed to do with it. Now, there's a lot of kids that get generational wealth and they trick it off and then it's gone in one generation, as Dr. Claude Anderson talks about. But I would suggest everybody go listen to Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Boyce Watkins. Go listen to these people, man. They know what the fuck it is, especially Dr. Boyce Watkins. When it comes to that bread, that nigga know how to get that bread. And I think we need to do a better job of listening to what he has to say and don't be so distracted by how much money he got. Man, I feel like that's a major problem amongst black folk too. We don't even want to listen to each other. And that's fine, because I've been down that road too. But as I got older, I learned, like, you know what? You better start listening to somebody. You're going to wish that you had him. No, I got it. I got it on my phone. Don't trip. But man, hey man, law enforcement is there to protect white folk. It's not there to protect us. Let me tell you something. I haven't even gotten into this. I just received my the Great Book of Melanin. It's thorough research about melanin and what it does, but with it comes a lot of other shit. That's the shit that Shawnee, remember we was talking, I did a podcast probably like a year and a half ago about the laws and bonds and all this other stuff and how policemen have bonds. Well, here it is right here. I haven't even studied it yet. I got this when I got the Great Book of Melanin. And I'm going to study this shit. And this tells you what type of bonds all these lawyers and judges and police officers, they work up under. Where there's a shorty bond and how you can put a lien on the bond, the rules and where you can go and place the lien. I got that with that book. I got a whole bunch of other shit that I got with it too. And I'm going to have to start studying that shit because we need to know the law and we need to know how it's being played. But even when you know, they're going to just move the goalposts anyway because that's what they do. They've been doing that. I don't understand that. Look at Rich Paul with Clutch Sports with LeBron James. They didn't like the fact that LeBron James and his boy came up with a way where they could put a woo-wop on the NBA. And they like, oh, now you got to have a degree to be an agent. So you can't have any players from the NCAA being represented by you because you don't have a college degree. If that wasn't racist, then what was? Then they tried to redact and retract what they say, but fuck all that, man. You know what they meant. Because niggas know where there's a will, there's a way for us. That's why we need to put away the image of what they told you was success. I feel like I'm just now coming to that, man. I'm not gonna act like I knew it the whole time. No, nigga. I just like, that's why I don't give a, man. This is me. I'm not gonna be performing and bucking and buck dancing and cutting a jig and bucking my eyes and dancing and tap dancing and being a Sammy Davis Jr. just so I get a pat on the head. You know how stressful that is? But niggas will do that shit because I guess they feel like that's what they're supposed to be doing. Well, I'm not about to be doing that. And I don't have time for that. And I don't have time for people to be around me in my inner circle. First of all, niggas be worried about shit that don't even matter. That's why I don't really, I go places by my motherfucking self for the most part. Because I don't want to be around a whole bunch of niggas. Niggas be worried about shit that don't matter. Niggas want to be fighting, fucking on each other's bitches and all. Like, nigga, I ain't into all that. That's just me. But I'll tell you this. You better wake up. Because that stock is moving. While you not looking at that stock is moving. While you not moving, niggas is starting business every day. And it is scary leaving the corporate plantation and trying to start your own stuff, especially when you've been doing it for 15 years. Yes, you remember it. Yes, I remember. Title IV flag has some info too. You put me on that book. Hey, ain't that book? See, let me tell you something. When I read that book, because I got another book called The Sovereign Citizen. It's this author based out of Vegas. I haven't read that book yet. But when I read that book, Title IV flag, I said, damn. Because it's a goofy book, but it's dropping some real game. Shawty will tell you, man, it's dropping some real game. Like, I didn't know the flags that are in court are different from the flags you go get from Walmart. Those are different flags, and how you got to have your flag up to represent your nation and what jurisdiction you claim in and all this other shit. And when you put on your receipt without prejudice. God, what's the other? Because if you put certain things on your ticket, then you're not adhering to their jurisdiction. And man, it's just so much shit in that book. Because I haven't read it yet. That was probably about a year and a half ago we talked about that shit. Right. It's jokingly telling secrets. Exactly. Whoever wrote that book, they must have smoked a blunt and then just wrote what they thought. Because it's kind of a joke, but a lot of this shit is real. And it's real hard to find shit that has to do with ejecting yourself from the system and creating a straw man account. You know what I'm saying? And I want to do a podcast on that soon. I just want to read. Y'all already know. I don't like to do a lot of podcasts unless these are books that I read. Like these books right here, I've read each and every one of these motherfucking books. Like I'm telling you right now, man, if y'all get a chance, go get The Burglary. I keep promoting this book. It's a great book. It's a great book. The lady is a white author, but this is a true story. She went and got all those white folks that broke in that FBI building and told on J. Edgar Hoover. It's a very, very good book. And go get it, man. Like, I'm only going to talk about books I read. If I ain't read the books, I'm not going to put it on here. I'm only putting books that I actually read. Straight up. And I've read a lot more than the books that y'all see on this motherfucking table. But I'll tell you this, patriotism and being a patriot, that is one who has love for his country. That's all you thinking about is the love for your country. Now, black folks get shit on, pissed on, tarred, feathered, lynched, raped, robbed, pillaged. But we are the only motherfuckers that still love this country. Even though we get treated the shittiest out of every other racial group in this United States of America incorporated. So if nobody is talking about reparations, fuck them. Soon as they get to deflect and be like, yeah, you a Sambo or you a Mammy, and just get the fuck away from them. Don't even argue with them if they black, because they know what the fuck they doing. They're pandering to the dominant white society because they want to get a job or they want to do something, and they're not worried about everyone else. Remember that. Remember that all the police gonna do when they slammed, I think the cop's name was Ethan Fournier or whatever, who slammed Taylor Bracey on the ground and knocked her unconscious. You know all they gonna do is the woo-wop. They gonna do an investigation and hopefully things will go away or something else come up, and then you ain't gonna hear nothing else more about it. What happened to Daniel Prue? They only want to talk about Breonna Taylor, and the only reason why they really was talking about Breonna Taylor because they realized that they had fucked up so bad and motherfuckers wasn't gonna let that go away. They executed that woman. Stop. And it was trying to get the baby and trying to get her other boyfriend to roll over on her like, yeah, she was doing drugs. These people are wicked. Remember, if these are the people that you're dealing with, why would you think that they should be the moral compass for your people? Why should they be the judge and the jury for black folk when they have been the most immoral, vicious, vile, satanic devils in the United States of America Incorporated the last 450 years? Why should they be the person that could be the moral compass of where black folks will be in a position to let them be the judge and the jury over us? Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Remember this, man. Jack out the matrix, read, understand, study, and know what the fuck is going on. Put that Bible down, and sometimes, look, I'm gonna tell you this right now. You wanna read something? Go read this book. Go read The Fall of America by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Just go read it. You ain't gotta be the Nation of Islam to read it. Let me tell you something. You go in white folks' house, they got president of John F. Kennedy, Abraham Lincoln, they got president of all their heroes. So you goddamn right, I'm gonna have a picture of Dirty Bookman, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan. These are the niggas that's speaking up for us. Why is it people think you gotta be a part of the Nation of Islam to support them? It's like, goddamn, man. Lacking maturity, man. Grow up. But motherfucker put a preacher on the wall, right? And I'm talking about Bishop Noel Jones or some motherfucker like that that's running a fucking finesse on everybody. Stop. But hey, man, you already know what it is. Go read that book. I'm gonna keep talking about these books, man. I'm gonna keep talking about this book every day. Go read Black Larry White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson, man. Great book. If you're not reading these books, I don't know what the fuck to tell you, man. But hey, read, study, live life. When it comes to your people, look them in the eye and say hello, good morning. Don't look away. You looking away, then you are part of the problem, never a part of the solution. And if a nigga is talking about we don't need reparations and I don't see racism, guilty nigga, you a Sambo, tell him about the gun line, Haywood Shepherd, Steven from Django, ass nigga, and I don't fuck with you. I'm out. Peace.